Ayan had always believed that life moved slowly in his small hometown. The streets were quiet, the people polite, and the days almost always felt the same. He woke up early, helped his father in the shop, studied when he had time, and tried his best to live a peaceful life. But even in quiet places, life had ways of surprising people. And Ayan was about to experience something he never imagined. He was only 24, young, hopeful, and sometimes unsure about his future. He dreamed of building his career, traveling to other cities, maybe even starting a small business of his own one day. Marriage, however, was not on his mind, not yet. But dreams and reality do not always walk together. One evening, his parents called him into the living room with unusually serious expressions. His father's eyes were calm, but his mother looked both excited and nervous. "Ayan," his father began. "We received a proposal today." The words felt like a stone suddenly dropped in Ayan's chest. He had expected many things. Maybe advice, maybe a discussion about work, maybe even a small family matter. But not this. "A proposal?" he repeated quietly. His mother quickly added, "The girl is good. The family is respected. Her name is Zoya." Ayan nodded automatically. But his mind was racing. He had heard the name before. Zoya was known in the area, not because of anything bad, but simply because she was tall, very tall. People often whispered about it, teasing in small ways, exaggerating stories. Some called her a giant, though only as a silly joke. But Ayan had never liked such comments. A person's height never defined their character. Yet now, realizing she was the one his parents wanted him to marry, his heart felt confused. He was not against arranged marriage, but he wanted to be sure he could connect with the person he spent his life with. Still, he respected his parents deeply, so he stayed quiet and listened. His mother continued, "We met her family today. They spoke with respect and kindness. They want to meet you too." Ayan felt the pressure of expectations closing in. But he took a deep breath. Next week, they arranged a formal meeting. Days passed slowly until the morning of the meeting. Ayan felt nervous, adjusting his clothes again and again. His father placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "Just be yourself. That is enough." His mother smiled, trying to hide her excitement. When they reached Zoya's home, Ayan noticed how peaceful the surroundings were. Her parents greeted everyone warmly. After a little while, Zoya walked into the room. She was indeed tall, but she carried herself gently. With calm eyes and a soft expression, she greeted them politely and sat quietly beside her mother. For a moment, Ayan sensed her hesitation. Maybe she was nervous as well. Maybe she also felt unsure about this whole arrangement. That made him feel a little calmer. He was not alone. After tea and a few polite discussions, both families agreed that the two should talk privately. Zoya led Ayan to the small garden behind the house. The sun was low, and the air felt cool. "It's okay if you feel nervous," Zoya said quietly, looking down at her hands. "I am nervous too." Her honesty surprised him in a comforting way. "I am," he admitted. "This is all happening fast." She nodded, taking a slow breath. "My height. I know people talk. I know they say things. But I hope that doesn't make you uncomfortable." Ayan looked up at her, this time not noticing her height, but the sincerity in her voice. "No," he said gently. "I don't judge you by that." A faint smile appeared on her face for the first time. That small moment felt like a simple bridge forming between them. Their conversation continued softly about their interests, their worries, their families, and their hopes for the future. Ayan found himself unexpectedly at ease. Zoya spoke with maturity, kindness, and a quiet strength. She wasn't loud or forceful, she was thoughtful. He respected that. By the end of the meeting, both families could see that something positive had begun. Within the next few weeks, the engagement was finalized. Ayan felt nervous but hopeful, wondering how his life would change. On their wedding day, The hall was filled with warm lights and soft music. Zoya looked beautiful, her height no longer something people joked about, but something that made her appear elegant and graceful. Ayan, though slightly shorter, felt proud to stand beside her. But weddings bring emotions that are difficult to explain. For Ayan, it wasn't fear, it was pressure. So many eyes, so many expectations, so many sudden changes. Everything was happening so quickly that his heart struggled to keep up. After the ceremony, when they finally entered the small room prepared for them to rest, Ayan sat on the edge of the bed, breathing slowly. Zoya noticed the discomfort in his face and approached him carefully. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. He swallowed, feeling a strange tightness in his chest. "Easy," he whispered without thinking. "It hurts." He wasn't talking about physical pain. It was the emotional pressure, the overwhelming day, the expectations, the sudden shift in his life. But he couldn't find clearer words. Zoya froze for a moment, not wanting to make him uncomfortable. Then she sat beside him, her voice gentle and full of understanding. "I promise," she whispered. "It will be over soon. Just breathe. You've been under stress all day." Her words were simple, but they carried great comfort. She didn't rush him. She didn't force conversation. She didn't push him into anything. She just stayed close enough to show support, yet far enough to give space. Ayan closed his eyes, breathing more steadily now. He realized something important. Zoya was not just gentle, she was emotionally wise. She could understand things even when he failed to explain them. That made him trust her more. Minutes passed quietly, and the silence between them felt peaceful instead of awkward. For the first time since the wedding started, Ayan felt like the anxious weight on his chest was slowly lifting. Zoya looked at him and said softly, "We don't have to rush anything in our life. We can take things slowly, step by step." He opened his eyes and nodded, grateful for her patience. That was the beginning not of romance, not of passion, not of dramatic events, but of something deeper: understanding. It was the first small step in a journey where two different people would learn how to walk together, gently and patiently. And in that simple moment, Ayan realized that maybe this marriage was not something forced upon him. Maybe it was something that could grow carefully, slowly, and beautifully. The days after the wedding moved quietly, almost like soft waves touching the shore. Nothing dramatic happened. Nothing loud. Nothing confusing. Instead, Ayan and Zoya entered a slow, careful rhythm, two people learning how to understand each other, step by step. Their families expected happiness, but neither of them tried to pretend. They were polite, respectful, and calm, but inside their hearts, they were still adjusting to this sudden change in their lives. They had made a promise to share a home, a future, and one day, perhaps a family. But for now, they were still strangers, learning how to walk on the same road. On the first morning after their wedding, Ayan woke up early. The room felt unfamiliar. The air smelled different. The silence felt heavier than usual. He sat up slowly and rubbed his eyes, trying to gather his thoughts. He kept remembering how Zoya had comforted him the night before, her voice soft and patient. It had surprised him deeply. He had expected awkwardness or pressure. But instead, she had shown kindness without asking for anything in return. He stood quietly and went to the small window. Outside, the sky was painted with gentle morning colors. He breathed in deeply, hoping the new day would bring clarity. Behind him, he heard soft steps. Zoya had woken up too. "Good morning," she said quietly. Ayan turned, a bit shy, but he managed to smile. "Good morning." Silence sat between them for a moment, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It felt like they were studying each other, trying to understand how to begin a conversation without rushing or pretending. "I'll make breakfast," Zoya said softly. "You can rest." Ayan shook his head. "We can make it together." She looked surprised for a moment, then nodded. It was a small gesture, but it made her feel respected. Many newly married women were expected to do everything alone, but Ayan wasn't that kind of man. He wanted to share responsibilities, even if both of them were still awkward around each other. In the kitchen, the two moved quietly. Zoya chopped vegetables, while Ayan made tea. Sometimes their eyes met by accident, and both looked away quickly. But there were moments when they smiled, moments when they felt more comfortable, moments when they realized that maybe this marriage could become something warm and peaceful. After breakfast, they visited Ayan's parents, who lived nearby. His mother welcomed Zoya with open arms, guiding her into the home, showing her cupboards, utensils, and traditions. Zoya wasn't talkative, but she listened carefully, absorbing everything with respect. Ayan watched her from a distance, proud of how gracefully she handled everything. When they returned home, Ayan noticed shadows of exhaustion under her eyes. He realized these changes, these new responsibilities, must be difficult for her too. "You can rest," he said gently. "You don't have to do everything in one day." She looked at him, surprised again. "Thank you," she whispered. Throughout the week, they slowly began to talk more. Sometimes, it was about simple things like food, weather, or chores. Other times, their conversations touched deeper topics. One evening, while sitting in the living room, Ayan asked, "Did you always want an arranged marriage?" Zoya took a moment before answering. "Not always. But I believed in trusting my parents. And maybe, I believed that kindness matters more than long romance." Ayan nodded thoughtfully. "I think the same." She looked at him with curious eyes. "What do you want from this marriage?" He took a slow breath. "Peace, understanding, respect." Then, after a pause, he added, "And time." A gentle expression formed on Zoya's face. "I can give that." As days turned into weeks, they built small habits together. Ayan would bring tea for Zoya in the evening. Zoya would prepare his lunch in the morning. They walked to the nearby market together on weekends, sometimes talking, sometimes simply enjoying the quiet air. Their relationship was not full of dramatic romance, but it had sincerity, softness, and trust, slowly growing like seeds planted in fresh soil. One afternoon, something unexpected happened. Ayan returned from work, and as he entered the house, he found Zoya sitting on the floor with an old box open in front of her. Papers, photographs, and notebooks were scattered around. She looked up quickly, embarrassed. "Oh, I'm sorry," she said. "I was cleaning the cupboard and found these." Ayan knelt beside her. "It's okay. What's all this?" She hesitated, then handed him a photograph. It showed a younger version of her, maybe around 16, standing on a school stage with a microphone. "You used to speak on stage?" Ayan asked, surprised. Zoya smiled shyly. "Yes, I loved giving speeches. I even wanted to join the debating society in college." "What stopped you?" he asked. Her smile faded slightly. "People started making jokes about my height. I grew taller than everyone very quickly. Some said things that hurt me deeply." She looked down at the picture. "So I stopped going on stage. I avoided attention." For the first time, Ayan saw a quiet pain inside her. She wasn't just tall, she had carried years of teasing and hurt within her. And yet, she still managed to be gentle and strong. "I'm sorry you went through that," Ayan said softly. She looked at him, her eyes reflecting gratitude. "It's okay now. I accepted myself." He picked up another photo, Zoya standing with a group of girls, laughing freely. "You look happy here." "That was before people started noticing how tall I was," she whispered. Ayan placed the photo back gently. "You should be proud of your height. It makes you unique." She paused, watching him carefully. "You really don't mind?" He shook his head. "Not at all." A warmth spread across her face. It was clear she wasn't used to such acceptance. Later that evening, Zoya quietly said, "Thank you for saying that." Ayan didn't make it a big moment. He simply replied, "You deserve to feel confident." As their bond deepened, they began sharing more personal stories. Ayan told her about his dream of starting a small business. Zoya told him about her love for writing. Sometimes they laughed, sometimes they grew serious. Sometimes they simply listened without interrupting each other. One night, after dinner, Zoya said, "Can I ask you something?" Ayan nodded. That night, on our wedding evening, she paused, choosing her words carefully. "When you said, 'It hurts,' were you scared of this marriage?" Ayan sighed softly. "Not scared of the marriage. Scared of expectations. Of disappointing people. Of not being good enough. It was a long day. And everything felt heavy." Zoya nodded with understanding. "I thought so. That's why I didn't say much. I only wanted to calm you." "You did," he said. That simple conversation opened a new level of trust between them. As a month passed, their relatives began visiting their home, offering prayers for their future. Everyone assumed they were already deeply in love, but Ayan and Zoya understood the truth. They were not rushing anything. Their relationship was growing naturally. Slowly, beautifully. One evening, during a family gathering, a relative jokingly said, "Ayan looks like a child next to Zoya. She's so tall." Zoya froze for a second, the old wound returning. But before she could react, Ayan spoke calmly. "Height doesn't define a person. Zoya is strong, kind, and intelligent. That's what matters." The relative laughed awkwardly and changed the topic. Zoya looked at Ayan with gratitude glowing in her eyes. That one moment meant more to her than dozens of sweet words. Someone finally stood up for her. Not with anger, but with quiet confidence. Later, when they were alone, Zoya whispered, "Thank you for that. It meant a lot." Ayan smiled. "I'll always support you." Their home began to feel warmer, more comfortable. Zoya placed small plants around the living room. Ayan fixed a broken drawer. They made a routine together, not because they were married, but because it made their days easier and happier. One night, as they sat on the balcony drinking tea, a cool breeze touched the air. Zoya broke the silence. "I'm still learning how to be a good partner," she said honestly. Ayan looked at her with gentle eyes. "So am I." She smiled softly. "Do you think we will be okay?" "Yes," he said with confidence. "Because we are honest. And because we respect each other." Zoya took a deep breath, feeling a quiet happiness growing inside her. For the first time in years, she felt safe not because someone protected her, but because someone understood her. As the night deepened, the two sat side by side, not holding hands, not expressing anything dramatic, just sharing silence that felt peaceful instead of heavy. It was the kind of silence that marked the beginning of real companionship. Their story was not fast or intense. It was slow, patient, and sincere, like two lonely hearts, learning how to trust again. And without realizing it, both Ayan and Zoya had already taken their first steps toward a bond that would soon become stronger, deeper, and truly meaningful. As weeks turned into months, Ayan and Zoya slowly learned how to understand each other's habits, moods, and unspoken thoughts. Their home, once filled with silence and careful steps, now felt warmer and more lively. But even peaceful homes face challenges, and their growing bond was about to be tested in ways neither of them expected. One morning, Ayan woke up earlier than usual. He had been thinking a lot about his future lately, especially his dream of starting a small business. His job paid well enough, but it didn't give him satisfaction. Every day felt the same, and he wanted to build something of his own, something meaningful. Still, fear held him back. He worried about failing. He worried about disappointing his family. He worried about putting financial pressure on Zoya. As he sat on the edge of the bed, lost in thought, Zoya noticed his silence. "You're thinking too much again," she said softly from behind him. Ayan smiled faintly. "Is it that obvious?" "You don't talk when something is on your mind," she replied gently. "And you wake up too early." Ayan hesitated, then said, "I want to start a business, but I'm scared." Zoya didn't respond immediately. She came around the bed and stood in front of him. What kind of business? A small printing shop, he said. Posters, visiting cards, brochures, simple things. I know the work well. I just don't know if it will succeed. Zoya sat beside him. Dreams don't come with guarantees, Ayan. But living without trying, that hurts even more. Her words surprised him. You really think I should do it? I think, she said softly. You should give yourself a chance. She said sighed. She said sighed. She said sighed as. She said softly. She said softly. Ayan felt something shift inside him, a spark of courage. No one had said these words to him before. Everyone always spoke about safety, security, and stable income. But Zoya spoke about trust. That made all the difference. Over the next few days, Ayan grew braver. He researched prices, searched for a small shop to rent, looked at machines, and planned his budget. Every evening, he shared his progress with Zoya. Instead of doubting him, she listened with interest, asked questions, and quietly encouraged him. One evening, while they ate dinner, she said, "If you want, I can help with bookkeeping. I used to manage accounts in college." Ayan paused and smiled. "You never told me that. You never asked," she replied playfully. Their laughter filled the room. It was the kind of laughter that comes from comfort, the kind that forms when two people finally begin to trust each other deeply. But not everything was smooth. Ayan's parents were supportive, but worried. His mother asked, "Business is risky." "Ayan, are you sure?" His father said, "Think again before leaving your stable job." Ayan understood their concerns, and he respected their fears. But he also knew he couldn't live his whole life waiting for perfect timing. And each day, Zoya's quiet confidence pushed him forward. Finally, after months of planning, Ayan opened his small printing shop. The shop was simple, painted in light colors, with a small counter and 2 machines. The first few days were slow. Customers came, but not many. Some days he earned nothing. Zoya brought him lunch every afternoon. She would sit with him for a while, asking about his day, reminding him that beginnings are always slow. "It will grow," she said one afternoon as they shared tea. "Everything takes time." "Oh," Ayan looked at her gratefully. "Your support means a lot," Zoya smiled. "That's what partners do." However, soon another challenge appeared, one that affected Zoya more than Ayan. A few neighbors and relatives began making comments again about her height. Some said things jokingly. Some whispered behind her back. One woman said loudly, "Ayan looks like her younger brother." Another laughed and said, "Zoya should have married someone taller." Zoya tried to ignore them, but deep down, the words reopened old wounds she had spent years trying to forget. One evening, she returned home looking tired and quiet. Ayan noticed immediately. "You're upset," he said softly. Zoya didn't speak for a few seconds. Then she whispered, "It doesn't matter." "It does." Ayan replied gently. "Tell me." Zoya exhaled slowly. "People talked about my height again today. I thought I was used to it. But sometimes, it hurts." Again. Again. Ayan felt anger rise inside him, not at her, but at the insensitive people. He moved closer and said, "Zoya, listen to me. There is nothing wrong with you. You are perfect, just the way you are. People who talk like that do so because they have nothing better to do." Her eyes softened, but she still seemed troubled. "Sometimes I feel different, like I don't belong." Ayan shook his head. "You belong with me. You belong in this home. You belong in every room you walk into." His words surprised her. She looked at him with quiet emotion, and for a moment, neither of them spoke. It was the kind of silence that held more meaning than words. The next day, Ayan did something unexpected. He asked Zoya to join him in the shop. "Why me?" she asked shyly. "Because you're smart, you're organized, and because I want you to feel confident again." Zoya had never imagined working with him, but she agreed. That small decision changed everything. Working together brought them closer. Zoya managed the accounts, organized customer files, and helped design simple layouts. Customers liked her polite nature and clear communication. Many even complimented her confidence and calm personality. Slowly, she began to feel valued again. One afternoon, an elderly customer said, "Beta, you speak so kindly. Your height is a blessing, not a problem. You look strong." Zoya's eyes brightened. It was the first time someone had praised her height in a long time. When they returned home that evening, Ayan noticed her smile. "What happened?" he asked. "Someone said something nice today," she replied softly. "See?" Ayan said proudly. "People notice good things too." The shop began to grow. Regular customers returned. New clients came through word of mouth. Business started improving slowly. But surely, another important change also began happening at home. Zoya, who once kept her feelings quietly inside, now started sharing more. She talked about her past, about her dreams, about her fears, and even about small things, like her favorite colors or songs. Ayan realized that she had kept so much hidden for so long that she hardly knew how to express herself before. He felt honored that she trusted him enough to open up. One evening, sitting on the balcony under the soft glow of streetlights, Zoya said, "I never thought I would feel this comfortable with someone." Ayan looked at her softly. "I never thought I would open a business, but here we are." She smiled. "Maybe life surprises us in better ways than we expect. But life isn't without storms." One day, Ayan received devastating news. A large client rejected his work due to a misunderstanding. The customer accused him of delivering the wrong order, even though Ayan was sure he had followed instructions. The client refused to pay and threatened to leave a bad review. Ayan felt defeated. His confidence broke. When he returned home, his face was pale with stress. Zoya noticed instantly. "What happened?" He explained everything. "Maybe I'm not made for business. Maybe I made a mistake starting this." Zoya placed her hand gently on his arm. "Ayan, don't let one bad incident make you forget everything you have built." "But what if I fail?" he whispered. "Then we will start again," she said calmly. "Together." Ayan felt tears gather in his eyes, not from sadness, but from the deep comfort he felt in her words. Zoya had become his anchor, the person who held him steady when his world shook. The next day, she helped him carefully review the customer's order details. They discovered proof that the instructions had indeed been unclear. With confidence and calmness, she spoke to the client politely and explained everything. Surprisingly, the client apologized and decided to continue working with the shop. Ayan watched Zoya handle the situation with grace and intelligence. At that moment, he realized something important. Zoya was not just his partner. She was his strength. As the shop progressed and their home grew warmer, Ayan and Zoya reached a new level of closeness. They were no longer strangers, not just partners, and not just two people learning about each other. They were becoming a true team. Every evening when they locked the shop together and walked home side by side, Zoya felt taller, not because of her height, but because she finally felt respected. Ayan felt stronger not because of success, but because he had someone who believed in him. Their journey was not always easy, not always smooth, but each challenge they faced brought them closer and made their bond stronger than before. And slowly, without either of them realizing it, their story transformed from a hesitant beginning into the early chapters of a deep and meaningful love. Months passed, and Ayan and Zoya's life slowly settled into a peaceful rhythm. Their business grew. Their home became warmer, and their bond, once hesitant, had grown into something steady and strong. But life was not done testing them. Sometimes, the real strength of a relationship is revealed not in the happy days, but in the difficult ones. One chilly morning, Ayan opened the shop early while Zoya stayed home to finish some housework. The streets were quiet, and the sky was still gray. As he unlocked the shutter, he felt proud of how far he and Zoya had come. His shop was still small, but it was growing steadily. People respected him. They trusted his work. This success was not his alone, it was something he and Zoya built together. As he entered the shop, a familiar customer, An old man named Rafiq Sahib walked in. "You opened early today," the man said with a smile. Ayan returned the smile. "Yes, I had a few orders to finish." The old man sat down. "Beta, I have seen many young men try business. Most lose hope after the first problem. But you have patience." Ayan lowered his head modestly. "I had support." The old man nodded. "A smart wife is a blessing. Never forget that." Ayan smiled softly, thinking of Zoya. After attending the customer, he checked his phone and found a message from Zoya. "Good morning. I made your favorite parathas. Come home early today." Ayan felt warmth fill his heart. He typed back, "I will. Take care." Life felt stable, peaceful, balanced. But peace often hides storms that come without warning. Later that afternoon, Zoya arrived at the shop carrying lunch. She looked a bit pale, but she still smiled when she handed him the food. "You look tired," Ayan said with concern. "I'm okay," she replied, brushing it off. But he could feel something was wrong. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. He asked again, "Zoya, are you sure?" She hesitated. "Just a small headache." Ayan wasn't convinced, but he didn't push her. They ate together quietly. After lunch, she stayed to help him with the accounts. But he noticed her hand shaking slightly when she wrote numbers. "Zoya?" he said softly. She looked up, surprised. "You're not okay." She opened her mouth to deny it but slowly closed it again. Then she whispered, "Maybe. I'm just tired." Ayan immediately closed the shop early and took her home. She tried to protest, but he didn't listen. He made her sit on the couch and brought warm water and medicine. "You don't have to act strong all the time," he said gently. Zoya's eyes lowered. "I don't want to trouble you." "You are not trouble," he said firmly. "You're my partner." She stared at him for a moment, touched by his sincerity. For the first time, she allowed herself to lean back and rest. By evening, she felt better. But the incident taught Ayan something important, that Zoya always tried to hide her own discomfort, just to keep from worrying him. He realized he needed to pay more attention. In the following weeks, their business continued to grow. They received a big order from a local school for printing banners and notebooks. It was their largest order yet. Ayan felt excited, but also a little nervous. Zoya stepped in to help him organize the work. They spent many late nights working together, checking designs, managing papers, and keeping track of deadlines. Those nights strengthened their bond even more. Sometimes they talked about life. Sometimes they shared memories. Sometimes they worked in silence, but the silence felt warm, not empty. One night, while Zoya was checking the accounts, Ayan looked at her with admiration. "You know," he said softly, "I don't think I could have done this without you." Zoya looked up, surprised. "Why do you say that?" "Because you believed in me when I didn't believe in myself," Ayan replied. "And you helped me in every step. You made this shop as much as I did." Zoya felt a soft warmth inside her chest. No one had ever acknowledged her efforts like this before. She lowered her eyes and whispered, "Thank you." As the months went on, their bond deepened in small, meaningful ways. They learned each other's moods, supported each other during stress, laughed during quiet evenings, and found comfort in each other's presence. Their relationship was not built on sudden romance. It grew slowly, like a tree planted with care. But an unexpected challenge appeared. One day, Ayan received a call from his father. His mother had fallen ill. She needed medicine, rest, and someone to care for her constantly. Ayan was the only son. There was no question he had to be there. Without hesitation, Zoya stepped forward and said, "We will both take care of her." Ayan looked at her with gratitude. "Are you sure?" "It will be hard." Zoya nodded gently. "She is my mother too now." For the next few weeks, Zoya visited Ayan's parents' home every day. She cleaned, cooked, gave medicines, and helped Ayan's mother walk. She never complained. Even though the work was tiring, Ayan watched her with deep admiration. He saw kindness in her actions, patience in her voice, and strength in the way she handled everything without asking for anything in return. Ayan's mother slowly improved. One evening, the older woman held Zoya's hand and said, "Beta, you are a blessing in this house." Zoya felt tears gather in her eyes. It was a simple sentence, but it meant the world to her. When they returned home that night, Ayan said softly, "You made my family your family." Zoya looked at him quietly before replying, "Isn't that what marriage means?" Ayan smiled, "Yes, and I'm grateful for you every day." As the year passed, their business became successful. People in the area respected them as a hard-working couple. Their home grew filled with small, happy moments, morning tea together, shared jokes, walks to the market, and simple dinners cooked with love. One evening, Ayan surprised Zoya by handing her a wrapped box. "What is this?" she asked, curious. "Open it," he said with a warm smile. She unwrapped the paper gently and found a beautiful set of pens and notebooks, high-quality ones, the kind writers use. "You said once that you loved writing," Ayan said quietly. "I want you to start again." Zoya stared at the gift, her heart swelling with emotion. No one had encouraged her dreams before. She touched the notebook softly, as if it were something precious. "I stopped writing a long time ago," she whispered. "Start again," Ayan said. "Your words deserve to be written." Zoya looked at him with eyes full of gratitude. "Thank you, Ayan. This means more than you think." That night, after years of silence, Zoya wrote her first page, and she felt alive again. Their life wasn't perfect, but it was beautiful. There were challenges, misunderstandings, busy days, and tired nights. But through all of it, they stayed on the same side. They didn't fight each other, they fought life together. One evening, while they sat on the rooftop watching the sunset, Zoya turned to Ayan and said, "Do you remember the first night after our wedding?" Ayan smiled gently. "Yes. You were the only one who understood my stress, and you were the only one who didn't judge me for being different," she said softly. Ayan looked at her with deep affection. "You were never different. You were just strong." Zoya felt tears form, but they were tears of happiness. "Can I tell you something?" she asked. "Of course." She took a deep breath. "I think I'm finally happy." Ayan smiled slowly, a warm, heartfelt smile. "So am I." The sky above them turned orange, then pink, then purple. And in that quiet moment, they realized how far they had come from strangers, tied by an arranged marriage, to true companions, standing side by side. Their story had begun with hesitation, uncertainty, and fear, but it ended with courage, trust, and love that grew patiently, day by day. A love built not in a moment, but in 1,000 small moments. A love that didn't rush, it simply grew. Together,